It is perhaps the clearest example of watch what they do, not what they say. Here's Donald Trump being asked a yes or no question yesterday about whether he would ban the drug used to provide medication abortions.
You could do things that would supplement, absolutely. And those things are pretty open and humane. But you have to be able to have a vote. And all I want to do is give everybody a vote. And the votes are taking place right now as we speak.
Okay, so if you have no idea what he meant by that, you're not alone. But it turns out Trump advisors do have a very clear policy on whether or not to ban medication abortions. And all you have to do is turn to page 491 of Project 2025. If elected to the White House, they say loud and clear that their plan is to instruct the FDA to, quote, reverse its approval of chemical abortion drugs, end quote. But how did Donald Trump put it again?
You could do things that would supplement, absolutely. And those things are pretty open and humane. But you have to be able to have a vote.
That word salad response is no accident, because Republicans are painfully aware of the fact that being the party that banned abortion is hanging around their necks like a political anvil. They're not softening their policy positions around abortion. They're just softening the way they talk about it. And they hope that voters don't notice the difference. Tonight in Arizona, Vice President Harris made the difference very clear.
And just yesterday, in a press conference, we got a fresh reminder of what Donald Trump's Project 2025 agenda would do. It would ban medication abortion in every state. But we are not going to let that happen, because we trust women.
Joining us now, Minnie Timuraju, President and CEO of Reproductive Freedom for All. Minnie, thanks for being here. I have to say, in all the years that I've covered this issue of abortion, I've never seen these magic tricks, these different ways that Republicans try and answer this question. You can still have you still find some people who speak their truth and tell you what they really want to do, and that is ban abortion, ban mifepristone, possibly ban contraception, all sorts of things. But everybody else is doing some kind of dance to make sure they don't really say that.
Well, look, every time abortion's on the ballot, abortion wins. We've had ballot measure after ballot measure. We've had candidates running on this issue. And even when things were looking really tight between Biden and Trump, abortion was the issue that was moving voters to the Democrats. Abortion is the most salient issue, and it continues to be salient because the longer these bans are in place, the more extreme these stories and the horrifying consequences are in the states. But look, Republicans know they cannot win on their actual policy positions. That's why they're trying to hide from Project 2025, disavow affiliation. But when you have a vice presidential candidate like J.D. Vance, who is so cozy with the Heritage Foundation, but also, get this, I know we're talking about mifepristone, but also the Comstock Act, J.D. Vance was one of the Republican senators who asked the DOJ, in fact, demanded the DOJ enforce Comstock to block medication abortion just months after the Dobbs decision, maybe even weeks, actually. I need to check that, because they are so emboldened and in bed with the anti-abortion extremist movement. They cannot disentangle themselves from it. So now they're, as you've said, contorting themselves to try to hide their record, but their record was just 5 minutes ago. So either they think we're stupid or they're stupid. My guess it's a little bit of both, Ali.
Yeah, I wonder whether somebody didn't talk to somebody before they printed this 922-page Project 2025, because abortion's in there 200 times. It's not even just in one section. It's all over the place. It's pretty clear. So I guess they're counting on the fact that that document is hard to read and people aren't going to read it because it's written. So if you vote that way and in January you get Donald Trump as your president, it's a 180-day plan to do everything they can do to take abortion rights away from people, not in the states that they're already gone, in every state.
Well, they also, remember, took this to the Supreme Court. And every Republican attorney general in the country, almost every Republican attorney general in the country, signed the amicus brief to the Supreme Court asking the court to support banning mifepristone, revoking FDA authorization to mifepristone. And what did the Supreme Court do? They didn't actually rule for mifepristone to remain authorized. They punted. They kicked the can down the road very conveniently for a future Republican administration and a future Republican-led FDA to take the action to revoke the authorization. So this is the case that came out of that Texas court, Judge Matthew Kacsmaryk, a Trump appointee, incredibly extreme, who wanted to challenge FDA, decades FDA review and authority over an incredibly safe drug, mifepristone, one of two in an abortion medication combo. So everything is been lined up. You've got Project 2025. You've got the stacked courts. You've got an extremist Supreme Court. You've got Republicans in the House and the Senate pushing their own legislation on IVF, on contraception, on more restrictions against abortion providers. So again, they can't hide it. It's all in clear sight, and they have not stopped. All they've done is tried to twist the way they talk about it, but they haven't actually stopped any of the policy, whether it's the courts, whether it's legislatures, and whether it's these states with these bans that we're continuing to fight.